Hello and namaste everyone. Let's go through a pull routine today. So here I'm starting off with some mobility beforehand. First stick drill is hinge dominated bending over position and then reaching as far as out as I can, making your way back up and doing a shrug. Here we go. So hinge dominated bending over movement, arms reaching far and out, then driving that back up and shrug. Second drill is an extension of that with an overhand protraction and a retraction movement. So here as we go low, we do a big retraction all the way back, followed with a protraction, driving back up and a shrug. So hinge, bend over, big retraction, protraction, up and shrug. All of these drills are done for 10 reps each. Next, moving on to some horizontal protraction and retraction. With every retraction, have a big nice inhale and then exhaling with that protraction. Making sure we are not swaying back and forth, which means we are not shifting our body weight moving forward or backwards. It's just our shoulder blades movement. Next, transitioning into similar movement but in an overhead or a vertical position. These are also known as reverse shrugs. So same breathing pattern. When you're trying to reach up, rounding your back, a big exhale. As you try to drive it down, a big inhale. Next, moving on to behind the back bar with a hip dominated bending over movement with a thoracic rotation side, middle, and to the other side. And on the way back up, try connecting with your hips as well. So big bend over movement, thoracic rotation to the side, center, the other way, and now just as a deadlift movement, driving with your hips. Really important that on your back days you do movements that helps you connect with your spine and hip so that they both can handle the load at the same time. Lastly, let's move on to hip and spine side to side overhead rotations. Really effective movement to connect through your whole nervous system. So side rotation, getting into an overhead movement and switching on to the other side. As you can notice, hip and spine are in line, in sync with each other in this movement. So big inhale all the way up and a big exhale as you come back to the starting position. While doing this movement, think as if you're trying to reach as far out, away and above you. So out, away and above you. This just helps you lengthen all your fiber and different muscle groups before you load yourself up under any machine. So let's start our back routine. First exercise is kind of an activation and isolation work for your lats and back muscle group. So here I'm starting off with some single arm lat pull down. I did 4 sets here, starting from a rep range of 20 down to 15, 12 and finishing off with 10. As you notice, I'm giving it enough time to get that full stretch all the way up as well as contracting it all the way down. Once you are nice and warmed up, let's move on to our second exercise, which is plate loaded overhand grip lat pull downs. This is a 3-set exercise, keeping it nice and under control, 6 to 8 rep range, making sure to get that full belly inhale on the way up and a nice deep exhale all the way down. So it's not about how much weight you can move in any particular movement, it's about how much muscle contraction and tension you can generate. Third exercise is pulley V-bar pull downs. This one focuses more on the lower and inside of your back muscle group region. This one's a 3-set exercise, 10 to 12 rep range each, making sure to get that full stretch and contraction at the way down. Lengthen it up, shorten it up on the way down. Big inhale and exhale as you pull. So today's routine was more about pull down movements to begin with, and now here I'm finishing off with some seated machine rows. Here I did 5 sets starting from 20 reps all the way down to that heavy load under control for 8 to 10 rep range each. As you can notice, I'm not leaning too far back on this particular movement because this is not about how much momentum you can add to that, but more control and muscle under tension. Finishing off a back routine with some front barbell shrugs. Good old school exercise, just with a bit of a bend over kind of position so that your hips are not taking that load and your traps are handling most of it. So as you can notice, this is more a drag all the way up and a nice stretch all the way down. Same breathing pattern. When you need to contract, it's a big exhale and an inhale on the way. So this was 4 sets, 8 to 10 rep range each, making sure to keep that nice control throughout the movement. Any kind of pull routine you do, your biceps are already going to be worked upon. So they're already nice, active, warm. Let's smash them. One exercise for that I like to do is standard seated alternate dumbbell curls. Here this was a superset. I did alternate reps, 10 each side, and then I made a superset out of it, which was both arms at the same time, again for 10 reps. This was a 3-set exercise, so there is 10 alternate reps plus 10 double, so makes a total of 30 curls. So it's a quite high volume, and as I mentioned, doesn't need to go heavy, just keep that tension going on. So as I mentioned, biceps are already on fire. Just one more exercise to finish off today's routine. I'm doing cable reverse grip bar curls. This was an exercise of 3 sets, 10 reps each, and being such a small muscle group doesn't need any kind of show off on those plates. Choose a weight that with which you can keep the tempo, keep the form, and throughout keep them under tension. Give this routine a try, like, subscribe, and share. Let's all of us keep it going to keep it growing.